going on, Jerome's? Another beautiful, blessed CARCAST. As you know, we're driving back, undisclosed location. Oh, sort of. But again, I feel like people like these videos better because they don't get to see my face. It's the best ones, man. All right, so the announcement that Jaren Hall will be starting against the Greasy Grimy Green Bay Packers, probably be starting the rest of the season, I'm perfectly okay with. And frankly, I think that once Jaren Hall cleared concussion protocol, and when Josh Dobbs was not doing so well, especially after that Bears game, 4 interceptions, the bye week, I feel like they should have rolled with Jaren Hall, the rookie, versus Nick Mullins. Now, I know that Nick Mullins was QB2 coming out of training camp. He was QB2 last year, but was that a little bit more of, hey, he's the veteran, he's been in the system a year longer, blah, 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 all that stuff? I agree. And now, you can say it's like, well, that's just hindsight. I mean, if Nick Mullins was really good, you wouldn't say that. It's fair, but I really like me some Jaren Hall, man. And during the draft process last year, I feel like, well, the reason why he fell, I think he was like the 11th quarterback taken, something like that, but into the 5th round was because of his size. I mean, he is short, 6 foot, 6'1", as well as his caliber competition when he played at BYU. But of course, caliber competition didn't really downgrade Zach Wilson when he went number 2 overall, but I digress there. And there was a lot to like about Jaren Hall. Now, with quarterbacks, especially day 3 guys, they're usually just dart throws, right? So you're betting on traits like, hey, this guy had a big arm, or this guy put up absolutely insane stats at his college, or XYZ, right? You don't have the quote unquote blue chip quarterback prospects in day 3, right? So you're not going to get your high end guys there, but you're taking a shot. And frankly, if some of your day 3 guys turn out to be decent backups for a number of years, that's a win. Everyone's focused too much like, well, the hit rate on day 3 quarterbacks is so low. Yeah, but how many day 3 quarterbacks have turned into like decent backups? And frankly, for a late round investment, that's pretty damn good. And that's exactly what you're seeing in terms of value of QB2s around the league, as there's been so many injuries this year. Also, by the way, Kirk Cousins was a day 2 quarterback as well. Well, what would have been day 2 if it was at the format at the time? He was a 4th round pick. But I mean, Jaren Hall, I really enjoy Jaren Hall because, I'm, as many of you know, I like to put down a jelly bean or two on the outcome of some of these sporting events. And BYU came up a lot because, they played late schedule and usually nationally televised games, or at least, CBS Sports Network. I think that was their main channel, right? And Jaren Hall was good, man. And also watching some BYU games this year, I think, who was their quarterback? It was, Kenan Slovis, formerly USC. BYU fans were just begging. They're just reminiscing about the Jaren Hall years as fantastic. Because remember, Jaren Hall took over for Zach Wilson. And, Jaren Hall, he's older than Zach Wilson. And frankly, I think that he was a better college quarterback than Wilson, who did end up going number 2 overall. Because, Zach Wilson was good in college, and he had some highlight reel throws, but he was so erratic a lot. And you saw that in college, and you see that in the NFL. But Jaren Hall, especially his senior season in 2022, like, he was steady Eddie. 31 touchdowns, 6 picks. He takes care of the football. And if you watched his games, and I watched a lot of them, and I watched all of them after the Vikings drafted him, is that he was clearly in command. Now, with BYU, you have a lot of older prospects. A lot of guys went on missions. Jaren Hall did. So that's why he came in as a 25-year-old rookie. And there's a difference between a 25-year-old player who's a grown-ass man, who's married. I believe he has kids, so he's mature. He's got roots, versus a 21, 22-year-old kid. I mean, a lot of times single, a lot of times, well, maybe in situationships. And you're looking to just sort of take over the world, right? And I feel like, even though, yes, Jaren Hall, his age was one of the reasons why he fell in the draft beyond his height, but I think the Vikings actually got great value, because I think that he can come in and the moment won't be too big for him, as evidenced by when he came into the Packers game. Yeah, he did have that strip sack, but that 3rd down throw that he had to Hawkinson was money, as well as when that second drive against the Falcons, he was good to go, man. And so I actually really like this one. This isn't a late season, hey, let's just dump in the late round quarterback or UDFA and just sort of whatever. I actually do think that Jaren Hall shows promise. And you'll notice that Kevin O'Connell and Wes Phillips, they talk constantly about the development of Jaren Hall and is sticking to that process. Whereas, hey, if Jaren Hall was just like a day 3 cannon fodder quarterback who's not going to matter, it doesn't matter. But you can tell, like, they're invested in Jaren Hall. I mean, he's the only quarterback that Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell have drafted together, and he's the guy. And I think that a lot of his traits from college will translate to the NFL. He's got a fantastically strong arm. Now, played a lot of baseball, and that was one of the notes in the scouting process, is that he's a little bit more of a thrower than a passer. But it seemed to work out pretty well. I mean, prime Russell Wilson is a constant comp, because Russ played baseball before he got to NC State, as well as the build, a little bit stockier, as well as the height, as well as Jaren Hall wore number 3 at BYU, so the comps are there, right? And with Jaren Hall, I feel like he's going to take care of the football. He has more than adequate arm strength to be an NFL quarterback. Also, his accuracy at all 3 levels is great. And with Zach Wilson at BYU, he was much more of a see it, throw it type quarterback, where Jaren Hall, like, maybe he didn't have all the fanfare of Zach Wilson, not to just beat down on Zach Wilson, but the BYU comps are there. But you see that Jaren Hall on his BYU tape, especially senior season, as well as in preseason, as well as some of the training camp looks, like, he throws receivers open. Like, he plays within the framework of the offense. He's much more of a quarterback versus just an athlete with an arm back there playing quarterback, right? And I think that Jaren Hall having basically a full season in this offense, he's fully ingrained in the playbook. The entire playbook is open, and I think that the playbook for Jaren Hall is going to be a lot more open and a lot more akin to Kirk Cousins than it was with Josh Dobbs, or on the same level as Nick Mullins, because Jaren Hall does have some movement skills, but he's not a running quarterback per se like Dobbs, and he is a guy that can hit tight windows. He's going to take care of the football, and he's going to operate the offense in rhythm and on time. So I think that's what's very, very appealing about Jaren Hall. And I think that I'm not ready to say that this guy's going to be the future franchise quarterback. But I think that he has a chance, these last 2 regular season games and playoffs, if applicable, has a chance to really make an impression on this coaching staff and decision-making staff. Because I don't necessarily see a world, absent a Super Bowl run with Jaren Hall, where he's just going to be handed the job. But what I do see is a world where they bring back Kirk Cousins, who I think is still odds-on favorite to re-sign here in the great state of Minnesota, mainly because Kirk's at the stage where you got to be in contention to hoist Jerome Barty's. I think Minnesota is going to be his best chance. I think Minnesota realized that with Kirk as well. And absence makes the heart grow fonder. And I think that Kirk's injury, in a weird way, endeared him to fans even more. Right? And I think that it's going to be Kirk. And with Hall, obviously, on his rookie deal, he's going to be here the next 3 years. And I think that Jaren Hall could play well enough that it's like, hey, maybe we have something here with Jaren Hall. He'll be QB2 for Kirk for the next year, maybe 2, and we'll go elsewhere in the draft. Or it will wait till day 3 to take a quarterback. Where I think that if Jaren Hall proves that he's not the guy, then I think the Vikings probably still re-sign Kirk, but then go quarterback in the 1st or 2nd round. And with this being one of the deeper quarterback classes in NFL history, I think there's going to be 5-6 QBs in the 1st round. I think that Williams and May and probably Jaden Daniels go top 10, maybe even top 5, depending on trade-ups. I think that this is a class where you can find your quarterback, but hey, Vikings got other needs as well. Cornerback, defensive line, for sure. And I think that if Jaren Hall proves that he's the guy, that would be the ultimate flexibility for the Vikings, because, hey, Jaren Hall comes out and plays lights out these next 2 games and playoffs if applicable, and also you still re-sign Kirk, and also you draft a quarterback day 1, day 2, and let him compete. I mean, there's nothing wrong with competition, and you've seen the importance of quarterback depth this season with so many guys going down. So again, the old saying is like, well, if you got 2 quarterbacks, you got no quarterbacks. Baloney. absolute BS, man. Now, you need depth at the position. And frankly, the Vikings need to do like I don't want to say it, like what the greasy, grimy Green Bay Packers did for years behind Bert Favre. Spending draft picks on guys like Mark Brunell and Matt Hasselbeck and Ty Detmer and Aaron Brooks. And also they had Kurt Warner there for a hot second as well. Or with the Patriots, where you had Tom frickin' Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, but you're still spending a third-round pick on Ryan Mallett. You're still spending a day 2 pick on Rohan Davey and Jimmy Garoppolo, and just going that route. So, again, the quarterback is the most important position in all team sports, and frankly, the Vikings need to rack up and stack up as many dudes as possible in that spot. Yes, I think Kirk gives the Vikings the best chance to win over the next year, probably 2. But I think Jaren Hall has a great opportunity here. And also, this is the best of both worlds for the Vikings, because I do think that Jaren Hall will play within the framework of the offense. I don't think that he's going to make stupid-ass mistakes like Nick Mullins and like Josh Dobbs. I think that, if anything, he's going to be overly conservative. Yes, he's a rookie, and yes, he'll make mistakes, but I think overall, priority 1, his job is to not turn over the football. That's what Kevin O'Connell's harped on. And I think that, given his track record, I think that Jaren Hall will do that. Also, let's not sleep on Jaren Hall. I think that he is fully capable of making some plays downfield. He saw it in preseason to a degree. Also, some of the throws that were incomplete, hit the receivers like Thayer Thomas right in the hands, which is like, ooh, throwing with anticipation, big time arm strength outside the numbers, hitting a 7 route. It's beautiful, man. I think his mechanics are good. I think Jaren Hall is going to surprise a lot of people. I really do. And I fully understand, you believed in Joe Webb. How can you not believe in Joe Webb? A blazer, man. But in terms of fundamental football, Jaren Hall has it. And again, NFL caliber arm, NFL caliber accuracy, intangibles off the charts. I think that Jaren Hall has a chance to be really, really solid. And again, like we said, best of both worlds. I think that you get a look at Jaren Hall, and I think he gives you the best chance to win these last 2 games, maybe into the playoffs. And also, he's like Schrodinger's QB. You don't know if he's good, you don't know if he's bad. We're going to find out these next 2 games. But either way, all in on the Mormon missile. Let's launch, baby. That's right. Anyways, that's it. Skull, no production value, no face.